Hello everyone, and welcome to RPGeeks. We play Dungeons and Dragons and we talk about science. This is our weekly episode of our ongoing exciting campaign. A little bit more about that in a moment. And if you hang around after the adventures are finished, we'll be discussing some of the science that has come up during the story and explaining all the D&D, but with science. Ali, you're giving me a really weird look. I'm like, I hope I'm explaining this right. And also the Ds and also the S's, which is the science. Let's introduce ourselves. I will go first. Hi there. My name is Shamini. Stop laughing at me. My name is Shamini. I use she, her pronouns. In my real day-to-day life, I'm a science journalist, but today I shall be playing DnDebrief. That is why, for those of you who are watching and not listening on the podcast, I am dressed like this. It is because I'm a future human based on drow, and also using the spells and things of a sorcerer. Emily Bates.
Hello, I am Emily Bates. I use she, her pronouns, and in my day-to-day, I am a science video producer. And tonight, I will be playing Infinite Sky 6000, who is a terraforming druid droid who is sent to different planets to not create life, make it habitable for life. Simon.
And I'm Simon. Hello. I was going to say my real job. I don't have a real job. I'm mostly a YouTuber and Twitch streamer, making stuff around science, mostly atmospheric stuff. But tonight and future Wednesdays, I am going to be playing. It sounds very much like Stars in Your Eyes when we say, and tonight I'm going to be Uriel, who is a dwarf monk, but reskinned. It's a future human, but not for much longer, with a lot of cybernetic enhancement. And that just leaves the last member of the motley crew, Ali.
The final one. I am Ali Jennings, my name. I use he, him pronouns. I'm the DM. This is what I wanted to say at the start. And also, I just want to say a little bit about the world for those of you who may be coming to us for the first time. So, we are playing D&D, but our challenge is to do it in a way where all the magic and everything and all the kind of mystery of the D&D format and the world and all the gods and everything is explicable through science. So we're setting it far in the future where this sort of science could actually exist, and every time we use a spell or anything like that, we describe it in a way that's actually technically possible.
We try really, really hard to.
A bit of a stretch sometimes, but there's some fascinating science that we come up with to explain things. So yeah.
Also, a lot of large gaps.
Nanites do a lot of heavy lifting in this universe.
A lot of nanobots, like a lot. As you'd expect, right? They're small. Anyway, so that's it. Roll the intro! Let's do it!
Roll the intro! See you on the other side!
So, we find our heroes deep beneath the earth. After tracking a group of smugglers into an ancient cave system, they had confronted them, performing some sort of ritual at the face of this immense, unearthly wall. They fought, but they could not prevent the smugglers from activating something of ungodly power. So, our brave party fled, and we joined them, riding a mechanical panther away from the wall.
Tactical retreat.
Being chased by a searing wave of white-hot energy.
God. I forgot that bit. I remembered the panther.
The people behind us no longer exist because they caught fire because it was so hot.
Yeah.
So let's keep going.
Also, like, me and Shamini are aware of where we are. Bates, where do you think you are right now?
No, Infinity just vaguely knows where she is, but she's currently a panther.
She's a lovely forest.
I'm just wild shaped to a panther running along.
In a
Let me
forest.
tell you guys what you see. Tenebris and Uriel riding the back of this strangely coloured mechanical creature, you assume. You see twisted crystal pillars rising up, but behind you, you've cleared these sort of strange crystalline structures. You see things falling from the ceiling. You hear the shattering sound of rocks falling around you, and you feel on the back of your necks the boiling, roiling hot air. In front of you, a stretch of flat ground sloping slightly upwards with the tunnel entrance you came in just at the top. Infinity. You do not see this. You see, as you look over your shoulder, just behind you, a towering jungle of angular trees. You hear the screeches of monkeys and the caw of parakeets. That was a cockerel. In front of you, you see a clearing in the forest. So, all three of you, what would you like to do?
Sword for dear life.
Infinity is just running towards the clearing.
You're running into the clearing. You see in front of you a clearing in the jungle. You still see around you plants, ferns growing out of the ground. You hear the noise of animals. You can't see anything particular. There's no exit.
Okay. Does Infinity know that she feels like she's swapped locations, or does she just 100% now believe that, like, do I have a memory of being in the cave? Or has something...
You remember the cave, you know that this is not real.
Okay.
But it's all you can see.
Is there anything I can, like, remember? Like, do I... Because I think you said I recognised the area. Do I remember what it was, why I would have been there?
Last time you rolled a perception check, and you recognised the shapes of the trees that allowed you to guide yourself out into this clearing. Mm-hmm. Now that you're here, you can... What are you trying to do exactly?
I was just wanting to know if she recognised, like, if there was like a safe place to go, if she remembered a direction to travel that might be... I mean, I'm saying safe, but like in that world, that would have been a safe place.
There's nothing apparent just from looking. And remember, you are running at speed.
Yeah, she'll just keep going then. Just keep charging forward.
What do we see as she's running forwards?
Yeah, where are we running?
As
God.
Infinity
It's
charges
like a rock.
forwards, you see that she's headed up the slope, but not towards the entrance. She's headed a little way away from it. She pounds over the rock. Behind you, you hear as rocks start shattering the crystal monuments behind you.
Tenebris is gonna go left a bit. No, left. Infinity.
Do I hear Tenebris, or am I just completely out of it?
No, you hear her. You can see your partners on your back. The question is whether you understand her.
Yes, so as a druid in wild shape, you keep your intelligence and everything like that. It's all good. It's not normal. So it's
You
great.
mean as an android that has...
Still a druid.
What?
You're still calling her a druid.
We don't know that Infinity can't see what we're seeing. So
Yeah. Okay. If I hear Tenebris say left, I'll
God,
merge
I'm
left.
just gonna veer arbitrarily.
But
left.
I will
So-
veer left.
How many hit
God!
points of damage is whiplash when we hit the wall?
The panther screeches to the left. You all now overshooting it. You're headed in a zigzag, now overshooting the other way of the tunnel exit.
A bit more right. A bit more right.
Split the difference.
Oh my God!
What are you doing, Infinity?
Infinity,
I'll
go
split
through
the
the
difference.
tunnel. The tunnel.
You move.
I can't see a tunnel, so I'm just gonna keep going.
You run faster, faster. You're not quite. Tenebris and Uriel, you see that you're headed not quite in the right direction. That you're sort of moving roughly in the right way, but at the moment you're just trying to hold on. You're not trying to steer her except with your voice.
Is there something that we can grab onto? Like, is there I was going to say a mane. Panthers definitely don't have manes.
I'm grabbing onto Uriel's belt.
It stays on. This episode, it is staying on.
Unless we need it.
Right, can I grab onto her ears and like joysticks? Like, try and move her.
Mm-hmm.
You feel two hands clamp down on your ears and start to pull your head in a certain direction. What do you do?
It's my friend, so I'll follow. I'll let myself be turned around like a motorbike.
Run. You run, carrying these people 50 feet every 6 seconds, which is the turn. We're not in turns at the moment, but that's how fast you're going. And behind you,
I'd be dashing, so it would be double that.
But you're moving half speed because you've got two.
Because I'm carrying people. Yes, that's right.
Your feet crushing into the rocks beneath you, into the scree of the field. Behind you, you start to feel the heat growing and a low. More and more rocks tumbling from the ceiling. With Uriel guiding you, you manage to reach the portal leading out. You get there. What are you doing now?
Infinity doesn't know, so she's just going to keep going until otherwise receives
God.
instructions.
How high is this tunnel? No, it's fine. You're not a giant mechanical panther. We're not going to like bash our heads.
No.
Right?
I have to go perfectly prone on the back.
I'm a medium beast, so a normal sized panther.
As you duck, you feel your head brushing against the surface of the tunnel, of the ceiling of the tunnel. Bits of dust falling into your hair, little bits of rock pinging off you. And behind you, the sheer, bright, blinding light casting black shadows in front of you as you run into what is now quite a brightly lit cave.
Wait, into the place where we're going is brightly lit.
Sorry, no, into the tunnel.
Yeah.
So, moving at this speed, you manage, after about 5 or 10 minutes, you burst out into the campsites. You see half the tents are gone. Feel the earth slipping, sliding beneath your feet.
What?
Infinity, as you run, as you have gotten further and further away from this wall, you start to feel the real world bleeding back into your sight.
Okay.
You can now see what everyone else can see.
Okay, great. I'm keeping going until... Just keep going back the way we came.
But
you've reached the campsite.
Yeah.
Half the tents are gone.
Gone.
The floor has fallen away.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, gone as in the floor's gone. Okay.
The earth is slipping, sliding beneath your feet.
Oh, God!
I'll keep going. Yeah.
Also,
the floor ends.
It's not like a slope, it's just a precipitous drop.
It's not the floor behind us that's leaving, it's the floor in front of us that's gone.
It's just fallen away. The heat, which you've managed to outrun over the last 5 or 10 minutes, starts to rise again. There's a strange, unearthly light being reflected from the crystals in the sides of the tunnel, all the way through, shining behind you.
can we see the path where the rockfall was before?
You look in that direction. You see a sheer cliff. Just in front of you, you watch as a chunk of granite, the size of a drone car, breaks from the edge of the ravine and tumbles into the darkness. The roar of the tearing of the rocks is deafening.
Does the ledge that we walked along carry on past the campsite? Like, can we kind of keep going in that direction?
No, it's completely.
Is there any direction we can?
I want to look. I would like to look for an alcove, like structurally sound. You know, like if I might have experience of, if an area is geologically unstable, this is what you look for.
Make a perception check.
Nice.
Natural 20 for 22.
Yeah.
Good first roll. Good first
needed
roll.
that.
You
Needed
can
that.
see through
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
You look around you. As the rocks tumble and roll down the side of this ravine, you see that there's some kind of strata that appears to be holding out a little kind of tiny roof right on the side of the ravine over which the rocks are rolling. It's just a little tiny, almost a pathway in the side. Would take a little bit of climbing to get to, but it's there.
Okay. I am going to grab Uriel's shoulder, because I don't know if Affinity can see or understands English.
You don't know, yeah.
And I'm going to point and say, there! And make sure that he's like following my exact,
It's like
eye
World
line.
War I tank kind of controls.
Okay, so you are riding a panther onto a tiny, tight ledge. That's correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like to add, Panther does have a climbing speed, so Panther can climb.
The Panther is faster than if we
Panther-
all tried to run there.
And Panther can see what's going on.
Can
Excellent.
definitely see it.
That's
Right.
nice.
So, Infinity, roll me an athletics check.
And I
Panther
use
form.
the Panther stats for that, don't I? Yeah. It's okay. 14.
14. Well, it's not steep, but it is a bit treacherous. You pad your way over the up this little ridge onto the side of this ravine. Rocks falling around you, past you. You're unstable. As you step, you lose your footing for a moment, and your back legs start to skitter and slide against the rock. Roll a dexterity saving throw.
Oh god.
With the Panther again, because it's physical, right? So. I rolled 2. Plus 2 is 4.
Your legs, grasping for purchase, hit a chunk of rocks. You put your weight into it and it falls. Your bottom legs are suddenly floating in the air. You can't feel anything. They're scrabbling at the air. You're holding on, your claws raking into the rock above you. Uriel and Tenebris, you both need to make a strength saving throw. Athletics.
Can I make it?
No, athletics
Can I-
check to hold on.
Can I make my check to be trying to basically, as I feel Infinity go, like, can I be trying to jump off, or is there even room for anything to jump off onto?
Yeah, you can absolutely try and jump.
I got a nat 20.
Okay, and Uriel, are you jumping? Are you holding on? What are you doing?
Uriel's definitely going to stay with Infinity.
Okay, Uriel, you clench tight to Infinity's ears. Infinity, that is really painful, but you've got bigger things to worry about now as you scrabble against the wall. Tenebris, what did you roll?
Ken has been, slightly guiltily, I will admit, pondering jumping off the Panther for some time now, and as it feels it, makes a leap, and I rolled a 2.
Tenebris,
Big up to that.
This is really
With
bad.
hopes.
you leap. Your foot slides, and you fall. You're weightless.
Infinity,
In the
don't
air.
even think about it. Oh, Jesus.
You tumble.
Wait,
God.
Uriel.
Uriel got natural 20.
Yeah, I put in my weight.
Infinity. You look behind you to see Tenebris fall into the blackness.
Oh my god.
What are you doing?
I'm gonna try and get back up onto the top, and then I'm jumping after her.
Saw that one coming.
But I want Uriel on the top before I go.
I mean, he's not letting go.
This is gonna be
He's like a little baby monkey on you.
Interesting. Yeah, can you get him off you?
Roll. Okay, so roll a strength check to climb up.
Okay, with the Panther, who is better than Infinity, so that's good. Oh, I rolled a 2 again. That's 4 again.
How many 2s have we had?
I'm not
in a
using this
row?
dice ever again. It can
Scrabble.
get-
You scrabble. They slip, they slide. You're falling into blackness.
Oh.
Uriel, As this happens, you clutching hold of infinity, you see, actually you hear it first, a rushing, hissing sound, then a wave rolling towards you, a wriggling, writhing wave of limbs and bodies and feelers, and your nostrils are stinging with the scent of animal sweat and terror as this tidal wave of creatures rolls its way along the side of the rock, fleeing from this heat. A huge roiling of the surface is just undulating with these creatures. They're so thick, you could almost reach out and grab them. Tenebris, you see the same thing, just within arm's reach. What are you guys doing? Let's go with Tenebris first. Tenebris, you can see just above you the falling figures silhouetted against the light being refracted down the cave. You've heard this strange hissing sound, and you looked across and you've seen this sort of writhing, roiling animal kind of carpeting the walls. What are you going to do?
Scream. And then slightly flavorfully, it's kind of the same effect or a similar effect to casting Infestation on myself. And I'm going to basically I'm going to try and grab, but I'm going to try and also use my friends to grab too, just with like tiny little like friction and extra contact. And
what are you grabbing onto?
Am I close enough to, like, I don't know, a freaking millipede or something?
Okay, so you're just gonna chuck your hand in there. Great.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I wanted to
hear. It's
hear.
gonna slow it down, isn't it?
All right.
Clickety clackety, bitey boys.
You reach out your hand, trying with all your might to get as much friction as possible, and your hand closes around the hard carapace, something that you recognize. You feel moving against your hands, these legs frantically going. As you grab onto it, you chose the only animal with 5 strength. You grab it, lean backwards, and it comes straight off the side, and you're tumbling again, falling.
Oh, God.
Okay.
Do you want us to roll new characters, Ali? Is that what you're after? Because you could have just said.
Do you know how expensive new character art is?
Uriel and Tenebris. Uriel and Infinity, what are you doing? Let's go Infinity first.
Is Uriel on my back still, or is he kind of let go as I fall?
He's very much clinging on.
Cool. If there's anything I feel like I can like sink my claws into and like grab onto the wall or anything, any form of thing, I will try and do it.
This sort of wave of life is streaming past you. You sink your hand in, you're not looking to see what's going on, and your paws hit wings.
That's not nice
Grab
wings,
hold.
is it?
No.
And as you pull away, you feel it take, and out of the writhing mass, you pull a huge mosquito, vast, streaked with grey, a long proboscis sticking out, and it's frantically flapping its wings and trying to grab on as it's slowly falling with you, but it slowed your descent.
Okay.
Uriel?
I mean, I'm hanging on to Infinity. Looking down, what can I see at this point?
Roll a perception check.
This is very good. I'm not a very perceptive boy. That's a 9.
With a 9. You see this wriggling, writhing mess of creatures. Occasionally the flip of wing beats beneath you. You hear the very distant scream, the reedy scream of Tenebris as she's falling, but you can't see her. Tenebris, you fall, and then smack. You hit water. You take 14 points of damage.
No? Too much?
Definitely too much.
Her poor broken body.
No, but I'm not dead, but I am very unconscious and in the cold water.
Cool.
And your
Told
vision
you
goes
coldness
black.
is death.
Uriel, Infinity.
Mm-hmm.
Infinity, what are you going to do?
I see Tenebris go. I'm leaping.
You
After
don't
her.
see her go, but you do hear the scream just...
Well, presumably you hear it get cut
Well-
short, right?
But if I know, would I be able to tell that she'd gone unconscious, or do I just think she's hit the water?
Roll a perception check.
I mean, how long have we been falling at this point?
21.
21.
Now you roll
hear-
well,
12
you little
seconds.
shit.
You hear the sound of something hitting water. A body.
Okay, I'm gonna let go of the mosquito and try and get down quicker. But I want to protect Uriel from the fall. Like, I want to hit the ground.
Oh god.
Okay, how do you want to do that? As you both...
Like a cat, land on my feet with him on my back.
Oh, I thought it was going to be more romantic than that.
Well, sorry. That's
I think
science.
Uriel thought that it was going to be like the whole encompass me entirely in like a loving embrace. But no. You're
No.
like, I'm a cat. I'm a cat.
Try and do what cats do and land on all 4 feet.
That does make perfect sense.
Yeah.
Yes, you twist and wriggle like a cat. Uriel, you're still grasping, and...
I'm presumably still on top. I don't think he will have like moved around to like the underside.
No, we'll say that she's wriggled her way around to the bottom, and then you hit the water.
On all 4s though, so that's great.
How
Why
does
did I think that was
How does
useful?
that help?
Cats hate water.
Oh god!
Yeah. Oh god. Ah!
Infinity, you take 7 points of damage.
Okay, still a panther.
Oh
Uriel,
wow!
Because of Infinity Sacrifice, you take... four points of damage.
Live with that.
It-
1 sheep's worth of damage.
Don't bring over other streams in.
I just say it's a
confusion.
handy reference.
A sheep is 4 hit points, everyone. So if you do 4 hit points of damage, that's 1 sheep. 1 sheep.
New unit.
It's the standard unit of measurement of all
Yeah.
damage. So you bob up, and you're floating.
I'm trying to find
In
him.
this water.
Tenebris.
Roll a perception check.
Can I get one of those dramatic shots where it's like underwater and there's like a floating body with like
Before
stone?
we,
Sure, one of them.
you don't get that. You just
I don't.
and out.
Charmony
Before-
could.
Shamani
hear
get
what-
that.
Before I hear what Infinity's rolled, Tenebris, can you roll me a death saving throw?
12.
12.
I rolled a non-natural 20.
Non-natural 20. You're looking around you and you see floating in the water just the upper side of Tenebris's back. Her arms splayed around her and the back of her head visible above the waterline.
Oh, straight over, like, panther,
Uriel.
like, nudge.
Uriel, what are you doing?
I feel like his first instinct is actually going to be to look around and see what else is happening. Like if he sees that Infinity's run over, I think the first instinct would
paddling
be
over.
to look around.
Panther paddle.
The paddle.
You look around. You see the water spreading to either side of you. Whatever this water is, whatever this body of water is, it's wide. You see tiny points of phosphorescence flickering in the distance, maybe up the sides of the walls. Your feet brush these thin, slimy tendrils of something, you don't know what.
Ugh. Presumably there's like bodies of these giant insects that are just landing around us all the time.
Well, some of them kind of flit by above your head, but none of them have just dropped dead from exhaustion.
Right.
And you shiver uncontrollably in this icy, icy water. Do you want to do anything else?
I think after assessing that there's no immediate danger, also go over to Tenebris.
Okay. Before you roll another death save, Infinity, you can reach Tenebris.
The minute she reaches her, she'll drop out of Panther and try and stabilize her.
Okay, roll me a medicine check.
If you roll a fucking 2, I'm
It's a
gonna.
bad location in which to try and stabilize someone.
Okay, 16.
16 will do it. You roll Tenebris onto her front. You check her airwaves. She's breathing.
Airwaves? Otherwise known as sound.
Or those little chewing gums.
How it feels to chew 5 gum.
She's got the chewing gum. She pops the chewing gum and then.
You check the vibration of the air. It's the sort of vibrations you would expect from someone who was breathing. Come on, guys.
But do you mean airways?
No,
Like her
no.
airways?
No, if
You
I
meant the
meant
vibration.
airwave,
Dr.
I would've
ABC.
said
If you're
airwave.
ever in a first aid situation at home, folks, danger
Danger.
response, airwaves, breathing circulation. I did my first aid training with scouts recently.
And then D.
No,
Three.
no. Especially not in that
Ruby.
training.
down into a huge tunnel. And the rumbling, crashing noises you've been hearing above. There have been rocks occasionally hitting the water. Slowly disappears. And the roof of a cavern closes over your head. You're safe now. You would seem. Although you are swimming.
Yeah, I just want to like make sure I'm grabbing onto both of them, and so that we're all like connected. And try and find a place we can stop swimming, ideally.
You float,
Sure.
treading water. Unless any of you can't swim.
I'm still unconscious.
You're still unconscious, yeah.
I'm just
You're
holding.
being-
Are you still in panther form? Sorry.
No.
Please.
No. Okay, I
They
had to
have
come
to
out of
drop
it.
out in order to cast a spell. Well, no,
Spell.
medicine.
I can't
I
imagine
don't
that
think
Uriel.
Panther
better
can
at
stabilize
medicine
people.
than-
So.
Yeah.
To be honest, I can't imagine Uriel will ever have learned to swim.
Why would you say that?
I'm just saying, character-wise, you grew up on. Actually, you don't know that,
I don't know. Yeah, don't say.
Oh, oh, oh!
Oh no.
but he wouldn't. He wouldn't have learned how to swim.
Roll me an athletics check. Or
Fair
you could
enough.
roll me a history check for
Good job,
whether or not
Infinity.
you had ever learned how to swim or seen
Or
someone
just
swim.
float.
I'll do the athletics check. I want to see
You're
if you
allowed to
can.
float.
I got a 14.
The 14. Your head sometimes dips under the water, but you watch how Infinity is paddling her way to keep herself above the water, and you copy her, and with a lot of effort, you manage to stay afloat. And all three of you drift.
Just head up.
Just keep swimming.
Just keep swimming, swimming, swimming. What do we do, Uriel? We swim, swim.
We just keep swimming. He's very heavy. He's very dense in a few
So's
ways.
Infinity.
Okay.
You can't feel. At no point do you feel any the bottom of this whatever this is underneath you. You know you're being carried though. You're being carried in what feels like a river. You can feel the current moving you, and you see the tiny phosphorescent beads in the distance moving, as though they were the bank.
Can we still hear this like rumble of whatever was happening before?
You do hear it but it's slowly receding.
Okay. Small mercies.
I guess I would head towards the phosphorescence, sort of the light of any form.
Okay, you swim in that direction. You still feel these strange tendrils around your feet, but they're not doing anything. They're kind of like seaweed almost. The water is icy cold. And as you get closer and closer to the wall, you realise you're moving fast. The current here is strong, but as with all big rivers, you almost can't tell when you're in it. As you approach, how far does your dark vision go?
Mine is
It's
60 feet.
Mine is, I would assume the same. Yeah, 60 feet.
It was 10
In shades of grey, up to 60 feet.
You see emerging out of the darkness a slight dent in the wall, though there was an entry point, like a tunnel going into the wall above the waterline.
Sure. Yeah, try and get to it. Ideally put Tenebris up into it, if I can.
As you get closer, you feel sand beneath your feet.
Oh.
You paddling and paddling and paddling, you catch, and you can stand now. Your head above the water. Uriel, what are you doing?
I think exactly as he so frequently does, follow what Infinity does. Like, he doesn't want to be in this water. It's the first opportunity he's going to get out.
You both dragging Tenebris with you.
Carrying nicely Tenebris with you.
Move
Infinity's
your way
carrying her nicely, Uriel. Okay.
to the side of this tunnel. Your feet catching on this sand as you get closer and closer to where this tunnel entrance is in the side of this riverside. You start, the beach rises higher and higher till eventually it brings you just out of the water, this silvery sand, and you see tiny translucent fishes playing around your feet. Now you are essentially out of the water, next to this tunnel entrance.
I'll try and lay Tenebris down and make her as comfy as I can. Is there anything around that looks like I could start a fire with?
Make a perception check.
14.
There's no wood. There's just smooth rock. You reach out to touch the surface, the dry surface of the cave, and it itself is still damp, and it's slick and a bit slimy. So no.
Okay, I will sit down with my druid calf cantrip with my little lighter thumb and just hold it as close to her face as I can without burning her to try and give her a little bit of warmth.
This can't go wrong at all.
Just close, not on.
Actually, to be fair, she can't catch fire at the moment.
What you do notice is a pipe. It can only be construed as that. Some sort of pipe that is coming down into the water from the cave. And then that pipe disappears up into the cave.
How far laterally have we moved from the exit point from the cavern? Are we talking like kind of 10 meters or a kilometer or?
Sorry, from where?
So like we fell relatively soon after the exit point from the cavern. How far have we travelled down the river?
You don't know. At this stage, you've been swimming for a while. You're not sure how long. The current has been carrying you fast. You know that you can't hear the sounds of all that chaos, but you don't know how far you've come. Does that make sense?
Yeah, okay. It's unlikely that can I investigate the pipe, actually?
What are you looking for?
Well, I mean, I want to see what it's made of, how old it is, what its likely purpose could have been.
roll an investigation check.
We just say that stone cunning counts towards metalwork.
We did.
Yeah, we did.
Good, because I rolled yet another 2 on my first attempt. This stream brought to you by the number 2. Also, the number of frames per second we sometimes get. That was an 11, unfortunately.
Right. So just remind me what your stone cunning feat does.
You have an advantage. Oh no, sorry. I mushed 2 rules together. I thought it was advantage. It's not. It's a +5 to the check, so it would have actually been a 7. Not
So a 7.
Yeah.
Oh.
The stream actually brought to you by the number 7. That would make sense.
The blessed number.
With a 7, you bend down to examine this pipework, and what you can tell, there's dust in your eyes, you are exhausted, you're feeling so much, and it's unpleasant how much you are, the emotion that is coursing through you. You're finding it difficult to focus, but with your experience looking at metalwork, you see this is old metal and janky. It's not well made. It's like scrap that's been repurposed.
Okay.
Uriel, I think we should rest. Tenebris needs to sleep.
Do you want to do it here, or do you want to maybe get out and somewhere we could dry off? We should. Let's have a look at the cave that's up there. If it's further from the water, it might be a bit, more conducive to rest.
Okay, I'll carry her. Do you mind going first?
Sorry. I've got to be so careful with this character. Yeah, sure, absolutely. Yeah, sure. And then I'll go off and recon what's ahead.
Oh no, I'll still follow you. She says, sort of hurriedly picking up Tenebris.
Head lolling around.
No, carefully, like a baby.
Support the neck.
Oh, sorry, Uriel. This is what you wanted. You just needed to have
She's got a new favourite, and that's fine.
So you are scouting ahead? What are you doing?
Yeah, I'm scouting. I'm adventuring ahead and just seeing what I can find.
I will be following though. I'm not. Just
I'm saying ahead. I mean like a few feet ahead.
Yeah.
Are you trying to do this stealthily, or are you just having a look?
I wasn't originally.
Oh, good. Then fine. Let's push on. Exhausted, feet slapping against the floor, flap, flap, flap. Water dripping off your robe. You make your way down this tunnel. In the darkness, you start to hear noises.
This is more centipede. Right, okay. Oh, we've reached the lava level in Minecraft!
Friendly noise.
It's not too far away from you.
I'm gonna now start to do the stealthily advanced thing.
Alright, roll stealth.
I will roll stealth too.
Come on, you piece of shit dice.
I'm super stealthy.
Do you want me to? You are being very quiet. Do you want me to roll it with a disadvantage or anything? Because I'm carrying Tenebris.
Dead quiet.
Offer that out to you.
No.
I got a 12.
I got a 15.
15. You try to muffle your steps, Uriel, with slightly less success than Infinity. There's a slight bend in the tunnel in front of you. As you round the bend, you see in front of you a cave open out, and the flickering light of a fire, something you'd only seen before in the Roach Motel back in Val. This one appears to be blue. There seems to be a gas canister beneath it. And there is no one else, nothing else that you can see around this.
That we can see.
That we can hear though. Uriel, what is it?
Well, normally where there's fire, there's people in my experience of one data point.
Right.
So, I'm confused as to where the people are. And considering what just happened, I don't know if they're going to be friendly.
Yes, but we should get Tenebris next to the fire. It might warm her up.
God. Let me just have a look ahead first. Stay back here and I'll go and see if there's anybody around.
Okay, be careful.
I'll try. Falls over.
Oh no! Drops Tenebris. No, she doesn't. She doesn't.
Another death saving throw.
She doesn't.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and stick my head in to the cavern and sort of see.
You stick your head inside. You hear, right next to the side of your head, you turn to look. In front of you, two bulbous eyes on the side of a thin, protruding head. A large mouth gapes. It opens and closes at you. You see the soft blue scales mixed with some kind of skin running over the whole of this face. It leans into you and it moves its head to one side and pushes its eye right up to your face. You see...
It's a chicken.
Well, you don't see, you feel
Scaly chicken.
the sharp point of something just under your chin.
Hello. How are you?
And then on the other side of you, you hear...
Ali, you're doing that thing where all my social anxieties are put into one D&D session.
This is a specific anxiety.
I was going to say, this is a very specific one.
I'm sorry, but a fear of mer people is completely normal.
Mer people? Oh!
But also, like, being unable to communicate and have somebody be very close. Oh, God. Like my early relationships. Right. I'm gonna, like... Sorry, Uriel is gonna kind of, like, raise his hands and be like, not here for any trouble, just, we saw you had a fight. Can you understand me?
The creature moves its head to the other side, looks at you with the other eye, and then... And from two tunnels on the other side of the cave come two more of these creatures, one of whom has got a slight rose colour to its skin scales, the other one of whom is also a kind of shining glittery blue.
When I hear Uriel say we don't want any trouble, I want to put Tenebris down and try and, like, stand in front of her and almost hide her.
Okay. Yeah,
That's
you can do
all
that. You have not... So you can actually see, when that happens, you see these two other entities come into the room in front of you.
Okay.
You can see that through the tunnel.
I'll move up closer.
You also see, on top of what Uriel sees, that they both are also carrying long shafts of metal, like metal rods, big ones. They look a bit like spears with sharpened ends. So you're entering the room as well?
No, I'm going to sort of split the distance between Uriel and Tenebris so that I'm kind of still keeping a guard on her, but I'm watching what's happening with Uriel.
Uriel, as this is happening, these two other creatures come closer. And you see that they're moving in a funny sort of waddling fashion. And you look down to see that where normally you would expect legs, you see these sort of lumpy protuberances, as though they were kind of proto-legs. And they have two on the bottom, and then near the top they have arms, as you would imagine humans to have.
As I would imagine humans to have.
If they also had fish faces. These creatures come closer. You feel on the top of your bald head a clammy hand webbing run across the top of your skull, and you hear behind you
Can anybody here understand? Would you call it English in the far future?
Common. They call it common.
Well, I mean, it is common.
Oh, it would be English. Yeah, I guess what you mean.
Yeah, what would you refer to it?
Would it be? No, it would be a.
Let's call it common.
Let's call it
just
common.
for ease. Yeah.
It's a different language. Yeah.
I'm not ready to canonically establish that the whole of Praxiganta speaks French.
The
I'm not ready
Alliance
for that.
is in fact just the British Empire Mark II.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Languages have evolved, and it's evolved to be a language called common. And yeah.
Yeah.
It would explain the very powerful navy. Just saying.
Portuguese.
Does anybody here speak common? Common!
And then you feel the hand run all the way down your back, and then hit your belt and go.
Not the belt! Leave the belt alone, please!
And these two figures come towards you, and they start pawing at your belt, trying to untie it.
Ali, look at what you're
Take the
doing.
belt away.
Look at what you're doing and see and know that I don't want it to happen.
They pull at it a bit.
Whoa.
They see the knot, they poke it, and then they leave it alone. Step back.
Right,
Then one of them cranes its head past you, looks into the darkness, and Infinity, you see this bulbous, glistening eye look at you.
Hello. Yes. Hello, I'm Infinite Sky 6000.
I don't think they're going to need the serial number.
Serial number. She says, opening up the document that has the serial number on it.
How is this not the first thing you get ready for every session?
I keep forgetting to open it. Serial number 86919726PMGB1530ML. It's lovely to meet you.
Infinity, do you speak... He's definitely not going to know what a fish is. There are very few cultural landmarks for Uriel in this exchange. Do you speak scale person language? Because I don't think they speak common.
We haven't really discussed languages, Ali. Can we? Because I speak technically on my character sheet, Common, Druidic, and Elvish.
Right. We have.
Yeah, because I
Well,
speak.
okay.
Well, I speak Dwarfish, which
we
is
said was like
it's like a
coding.
code scrap
Yeah.
pseudocode kind of language.
Well, I can tell you that these creatures are not speaking Druidic or
Great.
Elfish.
Perfect. That's all I need to know. No, I can't communicate with them. They seem friendly.
And I'm gonna look down at like the blade that's at my
Oh,
throat.
is there a blade at his throat? Still.
Yes. When you look down, the fish, the entity, this sort of huge fish head. You have seen fish before, Uriel. You walked through a river where there were fish.
Well,
There
yeah,
would be
but, like,
fish around you.
But I mean, let's not even get into the technicalities. But like, he'd seen like small silvery things in water, but they look totally different to this.
True.
But that probably was the first time that Uriel saw aquatic life.
The eye that's looking at you, when you look down at the spear, it also, and it removes. It suddenly the spear disappears.
Fish are friends.
Thank you. Buck.
The
Pop-pop.
rose-coloured,
It's his name, Pop-pop.
the rose-coloured scaled one turns to you, well, looking at all of you, goes, come in, and then starts to waddle its way into one of the tunnels.
Uriel, I think I do speak a little bit of it because I just understood. I think they said come in.
Well, I don't think we've got very much choice about whether we accept the hospitality or not.
Well, they've got fire and they seem. I'm going to go back and pick up Tenebris.
They've also got speed.
And,
Infinity. Just there holding the body.
Yes.
Well, they've also got spears, but I think they know that we've got Tenebris now. Okay.
Okay.
He's all.
I would like to take her to the fire now.
You lift up Tenebris and take her over to this blue flame. It's warmer over here, even though the rock is still hard.
I'll set her down by the fire and just sit with her.
Okay. You sit down, you look around you. The three blue-scaled creatures are huddled all still around Uriel, looking at the belt sometimes, poking it sometimes. One of them, the one which stroked Uriel's head, goes, and the other one of the other ones reaches up and strokes Uriel's head as well. The pink-scaled one is waddling off into one of the tunnels. It turns to look at you. Come in.
I'm gonna follow.
Uriel, you walk past Tenebris and Infinity lying on the rocks next to this flame.
Be careful.
Mm-hmm.
You follow down this tunnel. You hear the dripping of water from the ceiling. You see just in front of you that what you don't know is a fin, but it's essentially a long, thin piece of what looks like skin which sort of waves just behind this creature as it waddles its way down this curving tunnel. It's curving and it's moving ever so slightly downwards in a smooth, gentle line. Eventually, you see light being shone on the walls of the tunnel. And you come out into a large cave. You see a few things. First, what you see is that the cave is lit by another fire, but this one is made up of something a bit more sophisticated. It's actually a heater, one of those fire heaters that you would get to heat the air around you, and the air here is a lot warmer. You also see that the light isn't coming solely from there, but also from some very old and decrepit looking, blinking glow globes that are hung from the ceilings, casting a kind of green light over everything. Then what you see in the center, next to this heater, you see another one of these creatures. It's slightly larger, and its skin scales are an iridescent gold. Its fingers and hands are larger, and the fingers are longer, more spidery, but more elegant. It's playing with something on its lap, and it's sat on the floor. Dotted around the room are other blue-scaled creatures. As you enter, you hear and you hear your rose-scaled companion go, come on, start to walk towards this gold creature in the center.
Look around and be like, okay, walk over to the one in the center.
As you approach, you hear the sounds start to increase in volume. And the creatures start to stand up around the room. You see some reach for objects on the ground as you get closer.
I don't mean any trouble. I'm just trying to find someone to talk to. Does anybody here speak common?
This huge golden head cocks its way towards you. You see long feelers just hanging out over this huge,
God, he's a catfish.
broad mouth. On the end of some of those feelers, you see glowing bulbs just waggling around the fire. It shifts itself, and along its head, you see twin grey stripes just moving all the way down its back. It turns to you. In its hands, you see a grey metallic object that it's rolling between its hands. It looks at you and goes, "Surface? Surface?"
Yes, we're here from the surface. Didn't mean to be here. Sorry. Something happened. Actually fell a really long way and quite hurts, actually. Are you from here? Are you from the surface?
The creature stands up, and as it rises slowly, you see it's big, maybe 7-8 feet tall. And as the light shines on the whole length of its body, you can see that it's covered in hanging objects strung around it with pieces of string, with old bits of cloth. The objects are all grey, all metallic, strange different shapes and sizes. You recognise the undulating colours beneath the surface of these. You can't count them, they're all shapes and sizes hanging off this creature. It moves towards you.
Oh, hi, can you, surface? Do you know any more common?
Common? Surface? Why here?
Right, bit of a long story. Sorry, I'll try and keep it simple. We came here to dig, and we fell in the water because there was some kind of like transdimensional kind of like rift that opened up. I don't really know what happened. I can't put it into simple words, but basically dig, fell, water here.
Dig, fell, water, yeah.
Do you live here?
We live here long.
Oh. Okay. How... If I wanted to go to surface, how would I do that? I don't want to be, rude or anything. You're being very nice and letting me be here and see your friends. But don't want to impose.
As you're saying this, the creature shuffles towards you. The light from the globes twinkles off its skin scales. It reaches out long, webbed fingers and runs them across a gash in your face where you were hit on your way down. Hat?
Yes.
Still. And you feel around you a sudden tension in the air as all of the creatures go suddenly still and their eyes go, and they're all looking at you and looking at this golden entity. It looks down at its body and starts to shuffle through the hanging objects off it. It holds one up, chosen. Hat. Still. Holds it out towards your face and places it on your skin. You feel a sensation that you cannot place. You feel as though you were a seed growing out of the ground. That speed of growth, putting out your first leaf, your skin, you feel it growing back over the wound, like ice over the surface of a pond. The creature takes away the item, this grey metallic object, and you feel that your wounds have been healed.
So glad you're healed. Nebris is unconscious by the fire.
Just as well I'm the only one who needs... hang on a sec, let me just roll for something. No, okay.
5 points of health back.
Hey! We're back, baby!
Nice.
When that happens, you hear a communal from the creatures in the room.
Thank you. That I feel that really hurt when I bumped the old noggin earlier. Anyway, there's actually there's two more people from the surface. I think they'd like to meet you two. If I could get them, or we could. Would it be all right if I got two of my one friend and another person down here?
You're so mean.
I love it.
Friend.
All right, I'll just bring the friend. I'll be back.
Try.
Right, thank you. I will be back. Just a second. I'm gonna.
As you go, all the creatures around you go.
Oh. First contact. Like, go. I'm just gonna be like, wait, and then back up. Be like, Infinity. I found one that could talk. And I'm gonna look at the other ones in this room. And be like,
oh, do you speak their language now?
I've got the basics down. I think. Just breathe out, and that's like a thank you kind of thing.
I don't know if I breathe.
Well, just exhale air. Like, take air in and just... Yeah, you're nailing it. Come with me. I want you to meet this person.
I'll bring Tenebris.
He actually said... Yeah, sure.
I'll pick up Tenebris and...
You're knocking her head on all the stairs.
No, not knocking her head. Being very careful not to. Very protective.
And yeah, lead them down.
You three walk down these tunnels, this softly looping tunnel. Infinity, for the first time, you see this firelight lighting on the walls, glinting off them. You reach this massive open cave. This large, golden, fish-like creature around it. Many, many others looking in. And
Yeah, this was the threat. We all came from the surface. We all fell into the water, and we all hurt actually. Thank again.
From all around you. As you're speaking, Uriel, this golden creature starts to just gently push past you. Its eyes turning, cop one way, cop the other, looking at the body of Tenebris.
I'll sort of protectively cover her a little when they start looking.
Friend.
Friends.
The long arms reach out. One hand starts brushing over Tenebris's body. The other reaching around its body, touching the hanging artifacts till it finds one long, crystalline, holds it up, and you see that it cocks its face one way, looks intently, head the other way, looks intently, and then presses it down on your stomach, Tenebris. And with a sharp intake of breath, you're awake.
Oh. Tenebris, are you okay?
I don't know. Maybe dead.
No, you're not dead. You're
Falling.
fine. You're alive.
Falling.
You're so alive. It's fine. You're here.
Okay.
You
Where?
all feel
Yes, they're giant fish people.
You all feel a warmth emanating from this grey object. You all take 20. You all take back 20 points of.
Oh, thank Christ!
Heal
It's like-
20 points.
That's my maximum.
He brings you back to life, and you're back down again.
Consider yourself healed. 20 points.
Thank you, Ali. Thank you, fish people. Oh.
Can you try and maybe put me down now?
Oh, yes. Sorry.
I don't know. Okay, I think my legs work.
This.
Yeah, it's a lot, isn't
I'm
it?
sorry. I don't know your name. Name? Infinity.
Uriel.
Qua. Qua.
Qua.
Qua. Qua.
Twa.
Qua. I'm going QUA.
Is this going to be a new Chung Chung?
Qua. Chung.
Around the
Chung.
cave, you hear.
Quack.
I'll whisper to Infinity. Did these people change their genes to add fish?
Would I know if I knew of these creatures?
You
Roll a
should
history
know
check.
all the creatures that are sensible creatures for a terraforming
Sorry,
to know.
what check?
A history check.
What kind of sane terraforming creature would create these things?
15.
There's nothing in your databanks that resembles this.
They're not from where I was, created, so they didn't have knowledge of these creatures. Fish? You do look like fish that I have in my databanks.
Fish.
Fish? Fish don't normally have the legs and the arms.
Maybe they mix the genes to be better for swimming, for water planet.
Why would they do that?
For water planet, so that you can swim around.
This isn't a water planet.
Plenty of water around this bit of the planet.
Yes.
Oh, yes, I suppose. And they are out of water now. What do you mean, splicing the genes together?
And, like changing and mixing and matching, whatever you like.
Oh.
If you want,
Yes.
Your babies to be really good at swimming.
Give them fins.
DM, do I know about that?
About
The
genetic
genetic
modification?
changes of humankind.
Absolutely.
I do, okay.
Phew.
Absolutely.
I wasn't sure how recent it was and where, like, in the timeline. But, oh, I see. Yes.
What the fuck do you ask somebody like this? I'm trying to put myself in in your shoes.
We should. What was that? Did you see the light? I'll druid craft just like a little like picture of like light on my hand and just be like on my screen on my hand and just sort of just the same color as the wall. And just like, did you see this?
See? The creature holds out its hand, and the same light shines from its palm.
Oh. Oh, the light.
Then the lights from its feelers start to shine. Light. Then it reaches out towards you, Tenebris.
I've just
And it-
woken up, but don't like this.
Yeah, I don't like that.
What do you do?
I'm sort of like shrinking back a bit, maybe like behind Infinity.
I'll stand very much in front of her.
Shma. Shma. And around the ring, you hear shma. 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 The golden creature comes towards you, reaches out its hand, past your body to the artifact attached to you.
Oh.
Shma.
Oh, we picked up the artifact, didn't we?
Mm-hmm. Tenebris has it.
Forgot.
It puts its hand on it, looks at it with both eyes, then looks up to you. Yes, Matt.
You want weird thing? Shall I give them the weird thing we found?
I don't think we have much choice. He also did kind
Yes.
of bring you back to life, so...
They've been very nice.
Okay. Hi. Would you like this nice grey thing as a thank you present? And I'd hold it out in my hand.
Yes, Matt. Yes, Matt.
Kiss.
And
Kiss.
this huge golden scaled face, the mouth elongates wide, and you see just the inside of the gullet, a soft purple, pulls the mouth very wide in a sort of smile. The hands reach out, they take the artifact, and you hear around the room, Kisma, Kisma, Kisma.
They like it. They like the kishma.
Kisma.
Then the golden entity looks very closely at the artifact. And a smaller one of these creatures comes scuttling out from the crowd, takes the artifact and takes it over to the side of the room. And you start to hear sounds of chiseling. Hammering.
Is that what you do here? Do you collect these kishmas?
Kismet? Gift?
A gift?
Yeah, that's our gift to you. Thank you for making us feel better and being not eating us. Very, very nice of you.
Is that an option?
No, I don't think so. I think Uriel's just being facetious.
I don't know if I am.
No. Kismet? Gift? God?
God?
What?
Gift? God?
Oh, do you give it to your god?
Or maybe it is gift from God. Or to God. Maybe their god makes the little metal thingies. And that's why they have to collect them.
Maybe.
You have a lot,
you-
it's very pretty. Nice kishma.
Have you
Very
got
nice.
a temple or an altar that we could see?
You see the shape of this huge golden face change as though the mouth droops slightly, the feelers hang down a little, and the light glowing from the ends of the feelers glows a little dimmer. The eyes glaze a little. Damn. Oh. No.
Did you? Okay, I'm going to make a little bit of a jump. Did you used to have a temple that was maybe like a big, glowy sort of wall? Do you know that? Big wall.
Temple. Temple.
Was
And
that,
the creature again starts to shuffle in the hanging items around it and brings out one with a smoothly polished surface. It seems metallic, but it's giving off the same light that you saw coming from the wall.
That was your temple?
Temple.
There was mean person, Raunak. We chat, man, that man, and he was there. I think he maybe blew up your temple.
If that's your temple, why are you down here? So far from temple.
Raunak
What?
chased them off.
Water.
they needed the water.
Everybody make a perception check.
Perception.
Oh, no, that's
22.
cocked. How did I cock a D20? 9.
Tenebris.
Oh, you're muted. We've lost you.
Hello?
Oh, you're back.
Oh.
15.
Yep. Tenebris and Infinity. As you've been having this conversation, you notice that each of these creatures, trailing behind them, is a small hose. And that hose seems to run, in all cases, to the very side of the cave. And at the side of the cave, you can see there's actually a trough with liquid in it.
Oh my god, they're reverse scuba divers.
So
That's
cool.
amazing.
You see, with your knowledge of creatures, that actually behind these large fins which they have at the sides of their heads, you see a bag. You can only just make it out that's and is filled with water.
Oh,
And the hose is leading directly into the bag.
amazing.
They don't belong here, do they? I don't think this is where this group originally came from.
This isn't where they should be. It's not right.
Is
from
this
a water
your
planet.
is this your home, or are you here on business or pleasure?
You on holiday?
Home. Home now.
Where was home somewhere else before? Different home?
Home then. Home then. Not here. Home big.
How did you when did you come here?
Long time. Long time.
What happened to your home?
Gone.
Water planet and it got blown up.
You gift. Wait. You gift. Wait. You find home.
Oh,
Abole.
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 Mate, it's like,
no.
how interesting. What
And
is this
you
word?
hear around you.
Never heard of that word before.
It's probably fine. Can we? Do you need help? Like, do you need help getting your? Well, the wall is gone and your home is gone, but we help. You help us go our home in the surface.
You know Abole.
We don't know
does-
what that is.
Infinity know what that means?
Roll a nature or a history.
That is a 19 on nature.
You do not.
Emily knows a word it sounds like and has clarified.
Very thematically relevant one.
Oh,
Is that where you want to go?
And you
Abole?
see it. You see it shiver in front of you. No,
No. Okay.
no, Abole.
Okay.
You're scared of Abole.
Abole. Around you, you hear Abole.
Okay, no, it's fine.
So what would you like us to help? We very nice, lovely people, safe people. We help. Friends?
Friends.
Friends, we'll help you, and then you help us surface.
Service.
Or just the second part, if you're fine here, you know?
I don't think they are.
Are you fine?
How the hell do you end up? They must be from like a big lot of water, right? Like a sea or something. How did they end up in the mountains?
Well,
Maybe
this planet does have water.
Maybe there was an excessive pollution or a mining explosion, maybe, and then the sea all got drained away, and then they had to like swim away from the place they were, modified to live, and then they had to live here instead. I've never heard of people like this.
Neither have I.
Definitely not.
I guess they must have come here with everyone else.
Is this your Is this planet your home? Have you always been on this planet?
Home. We give you service.
Oh,
Yes, that would be great.
thank you.
We like surface. Surface is warm, but there is a lot of weather. Here is nice, but it is cold. You need to find vents. Warm water vent you find. Like you can farm.
You give we no abole.
Oh. Abole. Does anyone know what an abole is?
We cannot give you none of something.
Would you like us to find it?
Abole. No.
I
So the
think they
deal is
want
we
us-
don't give you Abolette and you take us to the surface?
Uriel, I think abole is a thing, and I think they want us to get rid of it.
Oh.
We give you service.
Yes.
You we may we
What is Mebawi? I don't know.
you we may
Oh.
we
We'll remember you. Yes.
at this point you hear the ding, 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 stop, and the smaller creature, again this one has dusky rose skin scales, waddles up to this big golden catfish looking creature and holds up what you recognize as the artifact. But you can see that the lumpy rock crystal that was the entire thing has been chipped off one end of it. And where there was stone, you now see smooth, matte metal with some sort of writing on it.
Ooh.
Please be careful. It is very. Ow!
The
Very.
creature holds it up
careful.
to you, Tenebris.
What did you do? Can I look at the shapes on it? On the.
Yeah. Roll an investigation check and tell me what languages you speak.
I speak Elvish, Deep Speech, Undercommon, Common.
Right. You
15.
You examine the surface of this metal and you can see that there are markings scored into it. It looks like a language, but you can't read it.
What do you call this stuff? Like pointing to this and pointing at the stuff that's
Gishma.
around him.
Gishma.
Right, okay.
Gishma.
I thought that.
We give you service, and you see around you the figures start to rise. You hear the wet slapping of scales on rock as these figures start to rock their way towards you. the dripping of the water on your skin, and in front of you, this large gold entity shivers, and you feel these droplets of water shower your faces. This golden creature starts to move past you towards the entrance that you came through. Surface. Surface.
Thank you. Yes, please.
I would like to go to the surface.
Yes.
You follow this creature past the tiny campfire that you came originally past, down the tunnel you came through to the beach. And when you reach the beach, this golden creature slides into the water. And suddenly all of the clumsiness when it was on land drops away. It flicks its tail and disappears into the blackness. You feel behind you the nudging of the heads of these creatures gently in your back.
What are called? Cold?
Yeah, I like being on the land, actually.
Cold water will kill you. Kill us. Very cold.
What do you do?
What does the golden person do?
You see just underneath the river's surface, it's circling.
Guess that doesn't look like there are many other ways that one could get to surface.
I think Infinity will start walking towards it and just sort of entranced by this creature in like such a natural habitat for it.
Is there another dry way to get to the surface?
Or a boat?
Who are you directing that to?
The like ones behind us, kind of pushing us, right? Oh, yeah, no comment.
Maybe if we just swim really, really hard, then we'll feel warm.
I don't think we have much of a choice. Right. Hold on to me, and then hopefully we don't get separated. We can all at least stick together.
Infinity is already like partly in the water.
Infinity, you feel the ice cold water lapping around your legs up to your waist. The soft sand, your feet sinking into it under your robotic weight, your metal. And then behind you, you feel the sliding, almost roughness, slightly coarse feel of scales sliding between your legs.
Oh.
These fins wrap around your legs and you're taken forwards out into the river.
The golden one.
Yeah, I looked at. Is it the golden fish?
No, it's one of these iridescent blue ones.
Oh, hello.
Right. Come on.
I think we're riding them.
Follow.
Right, okay, let's go.
I'm clinging on to you.
Infinity, you are taken out into the tide. You see beneath the water the golden scales of this huge catfish, and just breaking the top of the water, one of these lights on the end of the feelers, and it disappears down the cave. You're taken with it. Tenebris and Uriel, you slightly less gracefully feel yourself being maneuvered onto the back of these creatures, and suddenly you're away. The water rushing past you makes you feel like at any moment you could be torn away. You're moving so quickly, but the hands of these creatures wrap around your legs and keep you tight. Your head just poking above the water, spray hitting your face, the ice cold of it hitting the back of your nose. You're almost numb. And you all ride. You ride. until you start to see the bright white of moonlight. This this broad river tumbles out of a hole in the mountainside and over the edge of this waterfall you fall.
What?
Without a moment to do anything about it,
Ooh.
you see for a second a tree line. Huge conifers and pines rising up. The moon shining down. See, there's 2 moons, aren't there? We established that.
One's
You only
yellowy.
see one at the moment. Just seeing one at the moment. You see the shadows of the trees falling, and as you fall past the tree line, you smell the scent of pines. You smell the scent of earth. Earth you haven't smelt since you were underground. And you hit water. A plunge pool. A pool in the forest, surrounded by these trees, lit by this shining white moonlight. And all around you, the dark shadows of the forest. The fish people take you to the beach that rises up. Well, it's not a beach, sorry, I recant. They take you to the edge of this pool where it's moss, just thick moss lining these rocks and rising up to the point where the tree line starts.
Gonna like splutter and like scrabble off the fish and onto the rocks as fast as possible out of the water.
Like a cat.
Infinity will like look down and be like, "Thank you so much," and then sort of carefully make her way off.
Yeah, thank you. Oh boy. Is anybody else freezing, or is it just me?
That was amazing.
Okay, just me. Cool.
Infinity will just be staring at the waterfall and like all the trees around it.
Oh god, forest.
As you stare, the golden shape slowly rises up from beneath the water, and the mouth of this golden skin-scale strange creature calls out to you over the rushing of the waterfall. You, we.
We'll remember you.
If we come across an aboleth, I'll punch him in the dick. Don't worry.
Mm-hmm. He's very good at that.
You see the mouth slide wide for a second, and then it disappears down into the water. The other shapes disappear, and suddenly they're gone. And you're all left alone.
What the fuck was that?
We have a lot to talk about.
It is cold. This water here, the caves here, the water here are very cold. And now we are up again where there is cold and weather.
Here, it's okay. And if we're in a forest, I'm assuming there's like branches and things around that I can finally druidcraft a real fire with. Now I have seen one.
Yeah, you can absolutely do that.
Well, you got your wish of finally going to the forest.
It's beautiful.
Didn't they, specifically tell us to not go into the forest?
Infinity's just looking at all the trees and just sort of like touching the trees and...
Just remembering they said something about it being dangerous. Doesn't seem so bad.
I prefer it to being under more in that cave.
Can we stay here? Can we rest or sleep or?
You should definitely rest.
Okay, though. What will you do?
I'll watch. I will rest at some point as well. I should probably recharge, but I can wait while you sleep.
Okay, I'm just going to be here next to fire. Next to lovely heat.
Uriel is very much out of his element. I think he's going to nervously look around. So this is a new environment. It's unlike kind of anything he's seen before. And he's going to want to have a look around. Like seeing tiny centipedes. Like, ah! I got a 12.
These things rise like massive pillars out of the ground. They strike you as almost the same as the structural pillars that hold your home together. They're that width, and they seem that strong, and they rise that tall into the sky. All around the base of them, you see what you now know to be plants. Little green, straggly things, some with large, broad leaves. And then, as you listen, you hear the ooh, ooh, some creature in the trees.
Oh no!
Ali, does Infinity see any particular creatures in the distance?
Make a perception check.
I'm on.
She's like, I'll be having that.
Got an 11.
You scan and scan. The wind rustles the branches. You feel it on your cheeks, and you hear. But you can't make out where it's from.
It'll be an owl. Okay. Infinity is, I think she's very distracted by all the plants and the trees and the waterfall and just the whole area, and yeah.
Right, well, if that's that, anybody want to do anything else?
I have a lot of big conversations I want to have with people, but probably not for this episode.
Yeah, probably not for this session.
Yeah.
All right, with that, as the moon rises high over your heads, and the silver glint of the moonlight mixes with the reddish glow of your druid-crafted fire on the surface of the pool that you sit by, we'll end it there.
I'll do a very quick roundup. Do we have any default out of game music, Ali? You know, like
yeah. Let's leave this.
Hit us with that Monty Python intermission music.
Otherwise, I will need the loo if that water noise keeps going.
Yeah, put that at the end of the session when we haven't been able to leave for a couple of hours.
Oh no, I'm not going to do a roundup. I got confused. It is merely that we are going to, for those of you watching, we are going to take a small break, and then come back with some exciting science.
Woohoo!
That's what the owl sounded like. So we're going to go for like 5 minutes, I guess. Just kind of reset. And then we're going to have a chat for probably like half an hour, I think we said. Like that amount, roughly.
We'll have a chat. Yeah.
About some of the science that we've run into, and oh boy, we've got a lot to talk about. So if you're watching live, we'll be back in 5 minutes. And if you're watching or listening after the fact, then enjoy this very brief cut coming up here.
We're back!
Wow, we're back! Ali's changed the background of his
stream. Oh, professional.
Welcome back, everyone.
You're about to really ruin Simon's setup on Twitch by doing that, Ali.
It's fine.
half green screen and half not.
Oh yeah.
We've been changing our lighting, changing our background in the break. But we are now back. I did. It's wild. We are back for our favourite part of the show. It is the DnDebrief, mainly because it's a great name. The thing that we are debriefing is the science that has come up this episode, last episode's the world itself. As Simon mentioned, there is so much stuff that came up this episode.
We went full Gandalf at the start of the Two Towers.
Oh my god.
What does Gandalf do at the start of the Two Towers?
Yes.
Like falls down a rock face for like 10 minutes.
That bit.
Falls into darkness.
Yeah.
They worked out that, like,
That's
considering
what
how
we
long
felt
he
in
falls and
darkness.
assuming he reaches terminal velocity, he falls something like 4 miles or something crazy.
Wait, is this with the Balrog?
Yeah, when he falls with the Balrog.
Is that in Two Towers? I thought that was in Fellowship.
It's the start of the Two Towers. It's the flashback to the events of the Bridge of Khazad-dûm. But
I
it's
have
in
not
Two Towers.
watched Lord of the Rings for like way too long. I need to get
The
on that.
point
watched it
is, no,
enough.
look, right, okay.
We're getting off
so
topic.
Those who've been listening for a while may know that sometimes we devolve into film recommendations, but this is not one of those times because we are laser focused.
Everyone
on
should have
our
watched Lord of the
mission.
Rings by now. Okay.
Yeah.
Our mission of chatting about exciting science. Now we didn't. We said that Ali was going to have some interesting thoughts as the world builder and gamesmith. Is there a particular topic that you would like to be talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I had a think about some stuff which is completely irrelevant to what just happened. So I'll just offer it up as like a kind of, but we could definitely talk about the fish people, right? That's a thing that we could talk about. We could also talk about, I don't know if you can talk about the wall, but maybe we could talk about like the sea of creatures. That might be one. But I think the fish people is probably the most like relevant.
See, when you first said that, I assumed that the Sea of Creatures was the white light and it was just exploding into like a fountain of gore. I didn't realise that it was the creatures in the cave for a time.
Wait, what
you
you
take
said
it
was
for?
bits of creatures.
This is the Warhammer part of my brain.
Oh,
It was just like a wall of like
Gross.
foaming flesh and limbs and bones and
Oh
biomass.
my god!
Don't use that now, Ali.
no.
You cannot use that.
The foaming wall of flesh and limbs. Who do you think I am? What
Foaming
situations do you
flesh.
plan to get into?
I mean, we've played with you for a while, so.
And you're still
We're
alive.
fine.
You're totally fine.
I've
Okay.
been conscious for most of the game as well. It's been great.
Yeah, you do seem to be taking it pretty heavily. I was a bit worried when you hit the water because I was like, I think I've calibrated this just right. There's a lot of sixes coming up.
Was she. Tenebris took way more damage than like me and Uriel did, so I assume you rolled high for her.
I did
and-
roll
yeah.
high. Yeah, you were lucky to survive that one.
Good.
Anyway, so here's what I'm thinking, right? If we don't want to do fish people, then what I do want to... Okay, let's talk fish people at the start, and then at the end, maybe as a little sort of addendum, it would be just nice to build out a little bit of how we got to the world from today, right? So,
I like
starting
that.
today, how did we end up in the universe where this is taking place?
Yes.
Like, what are the first steps and all,
Yes.
all that kind of stuff?
What are the
And that's
basic
what I
mechanics
want.
of our universe,
Yeah.
human wise?
But anyway, let's just
Fish
deal with the fish
people.
people first.
Fish people, right? So I just want to say on fish people that like Tenebris is like, oh, obviously these are future humans who've been genetically modified into fish because that's how our universe works. You take people and you genetically modify them into fish. But Sharmony is like,
Did they evolve?
Yeah, what if it's
this is clearly
what's it called where you independently evolve to the same solution to a problem?
convergent.
Convergent evolution.
Convergent evolution. Yeah.
Well,
you
clearly, it's very bad convergent evolution because they just sort of waddle around with their scuba gear. I mean, like there's going to be
that's
they've
the
got-
teleological fallacy is to assume that whenever you see something, it's reached its perfect stage of evolution. Everything is constantly evolving. You don't just find things at the end of evolution.
There are a lot of similarities. They've got bilateral symmetry. They've got two arms, two leg
Bipedal.
eyes. All the sensory organs are roughly where.
Wait, sorry, you're assuming they could have evolved completely convergently from not from fish. Sorry, I was assuming humans
fish.
terraformed this planet, gave it fish, and that it's actually been way longer than we thought. And the fish, no, they might not be from this planet, though, mightn't they?
Well, the other thing we're all assuming in what we're saying right now is that you just said gave it fish. What if there were fish already and it was just terraformed for humans? We don't even know if it was terraformed. For all I don't remember any of it. So
It's definitely terraformed.
But it's
We
an
don't know
interesting
that.
question about whether fish would arise, because what a fish is essentially is a backbone with a load of stuff on it, right? That's what. That's,
Yes, but if there was
They are
stuff
too,
on this
really.
planet beforehand, then that is canonically alien life, which we as characters in this universe are not aware of, and that
Oh,
would be
that's
a
true.
very big
That's
deal if they were essentially aliens. So
Yes,
But also,
that's
like,
true.
surely as a character in this universe, you'd be aware that, like, your lived existence is probably quite a narrow vision of what is possible at this
It
level
would-
of technology.
Like,
So
we're
you
already
probably-
at a point. Sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, you'd come across stuff like this and be like, sure. Like, it's like going on the internet, finding a website you've never seen before and going, this is weird, but I guess this makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I imagine it's that, but with technology.
Yeah, because, I mean, is it... Oh, whose paradox? Is it Fermi paradox? Like, Fermi's
there should be
paradox,
more
which is-
life than there
should be
is.
more life. Well, there should be more life. But no, that's there should be more life.
Well, no,
But I guess
the
if we're
Fermi
at a point
paradox is-
in that we can like spread amongst the universe, it's almost insane that we haven't encountered alien life. Is a
Well, we
like,
don't know that humans
group.
haven't encountered alien life. It's just that it is not.
but we're not aware of it, and like we're already at a point like now in our understanding that we're like 90%
now.
sure there is probably somewhere intelligent life in the universe, but we're just probably never going to see it.
And therefore, in the future, you're saying in
In the future, surely our
RPG
understanding
universe.
is either they
Yeah.
can't exist, we've found a reason that literally we are just this magical little thing, or we've encountered it already and therefore maybe it shouldn't be such a surprise.
However, the other thing we don't know about this universe, and I can't remember what we've covered. So we've covered the fact that humans have spread throughout the universe by going into stasis and traveling long distances.
Mhm.
We haven't covered whether there's decent interplanetary communication, let alone intersolar system communication. So how organized is this alliance, and how would we know if someone somewhere else has met some
That is a great moment. Thank you, Shamini, for me to
Segue?
maybe just talk about the concept of the segue as a way of moving between two topics seamlessly.
He's been taking lessons from me, everybody.
Yeah. Hey, I did a great
Your
one.
segues are
once.
incredible. But anyway, enough about the segue. We've learned enough about that.
Does everyone feel like they know what a segue is now? Yes, show your hands.
Right, so here's what I was thinking. So obviously, what's super interesting about what you're all saying, right, which is essentially there's massive different distances. We don't know how long it's taken for everybody to get where they are. We don't know how communication works between all of the different sort of members of the human race scattered around the galaxy as they are. But take it back to the very beginning, right? So there's a whole field of science looking for exoplanets, which are planets which are not part of our solar system, and so revolve around another star somewhere, right? And there's a whole part of that field is about looking for these exoplanets and looking for ones which are roughly similar to Earth. There's actually an ESI, an Earth Similarity Index, where they basically measure anything they can measure and be like, well, how close to Earth is that? And within a 50 light year sort of distance from Earth, there are a number of planets which come up as similar enough to maybe possibly one day think about, we could maybe live there, right? Like it wouldn't
If
take
we
something
terraform.
drastic.
I was going to say, is that without terraforming, or just like they're in a habitable zone, they have water, they have oxygen? Or is this like, we could live on Mars if we did a hell of a lot of work on it?
Well, this is kind of the thing, right? Like, so I'll just go through my thought process here, right? So you've mentioned the habitable zone.
Mhm.
What that is basically the sort of band around whatever star you are, where you can have liquid water on your surface. That's the definition that I found,
I think that's right.
right? Which is pretty, like that doesn't necessarily just make you habitable just because you've got liquid water on the surface, but
I like that we're all planets in this scenario. I have liquid water. on
Hello,
my
I have
surface.
liquid water on my surface.
Orbit,
You can live on me.
orbits.
Are we proposing like Tinder for planets?
Yes!
You set the radius that you're looking for, and then like the characteristics.
I'm
That's
so wet
such a
as a
good-
planet
That'll
because
be a
I
great
have
sketch
water on.
video. You should do that on your channel.
But then, like,
that's what we'll do. We'll all play different planets.
the number of moons is like the number of kids that they have.
Yeah.
Dependence.
Whoa.
Can I be Pluto, who's like been told that they're not good enough anymore and they're not even allowed on the app?
Yeah.
It's just
You were
like,
banned
so
for a
dark.
reason, Pluto.
it's like, please let me back.
You know what you did.
Pluto didn't do anything. Leave Pluto alone. I fucking love Pluto. Poor Pluto. It's so interesting.
Here's the thing, right? So the habitable zone is where you can have liquid water on your surface. So your temperature is between 0 and 100 degrees Celsius.
Assuming
Oh,
atmospheric
music's-
pressure.
Thank you. Very important, right? Assuming that you've got an atmosphere. If you don't have an atmosphere, then things don't work like that. Your liquid just evaporates.
I can professionally say you'll have a pretty bad time if you try and live on a planet with no atmosphere.
Wow, that PhD
Really
pulling
came in
its weight.
useful.
Yep.
Dr. Simon Clark, ladies and gentlemen.
Years of academy training wasted.
And we're back to Buzz Lightyear. Yeah. So if you're trying to see planets, right, this is where it starts to get a bit strange. So you're trying to find a planet that is at the right temperature. So it can't be too close to the star, in which case it'll be completely irradiated and too hot, and it can't be too far away, in which case it'll just be an ice planet, or it won't even have formed into a rocky terrestrial planet. It'll be a big old gas giant or something, which we don't want. So,
We could live, of course, on the moons of a larger body, but then that has like its own kind of issues.
Intelligence. Whoop, whoop.
did not think about the moons. Sorry.
We're being very planetist here. Is that
Terrestrial centric.
Yeah.
Well, I think I'm going to offer this up, and I want some feedback on this, because I was looking at the way that they find these planets, right? And there's a couple of sort of cleverer ways, but the main way seems to be basically if you watch a star and then you just wait for a small shadow to pass across it, and then you're like, boom,
Yeah,
it's a planet.
there's that, and then there's the
Come on.
Doppler shift that you watch out for when the planets causes the star to wobble relative to us.
Yeah. And now what I was thinking, so for both of those, I think there's an inherent bias there, right? Which basically says whatever planet has to be bloody close to the star, because otherwise it won't cast a shadow. It won't be able to block out enough of the sun if you see the shadow. And also, the star has to be not so bright that it completely obliterates the shadow. And also, so it has to be close enough, and the planet has to be large enough.
I think that's the main thing, is there's a bias towards
the
Jupiter
size.
or super Jupiter scale planets.
Sizist.
So it's quite difficult to see. It's very difficult to see smaller planets, which we might be able to inhabit. But also, I was thinking that it's very difficult to see planets that orbit quite far away. So actually, if you look at the planets that have been found that sit in the habitable zone on stars that are close to us, they all have incredibly short years because they're really close to their stars, and they go around them really, really quickly.
I
All much
think
shorter than
the
ours.
Doppler shift method may actually have a bias towards ones that are further away, though, because it's what ultimately matters is the center of mass of the system, the planet-star system, being a reasonable distance from the center of mass of the star.
Yeah.
So if the planet is further out and massive, then the center of mass of the star will be further away from its center of mass. Sorry, the center of mass of the system will be further away than the center of mass of the star.
And therefore it will wobble more.
But that's I think, but that's just for that one method, as you say. Like the transit method is used. You've got the Doppler method. There's also, you can also do like spectrographic methods. I think where you can compare the frequency spread of light coming from a star, and if some of it is being absorbed as it goes through the planet, a planet's atmosphere, you'll see like absorption lines in that spectrum appear and disappear, and that is independent of. Well, is it? No, it's not, because you've got a larger surface area of the atmosphere being exposed to intercept that light, so that's still got a mass bias.
But no, but if it goes past, they can still work out like the different amount of light that's absorbed.
Yeah, but the strength
so you
of the
can
signal,
tell what's
the
on
signal.
it.
Yeah, you could, and that's really important. But the strength
can
of the
find
signal is
water,
probably
right, that way.
it will be proportional to the radius, because that's going to be, it's going to be proportional to the radius and the depth of the atmosphere, I suppose.
But then the more massive you are, the more atmosphere you're going to have, and the deeper your atmosphere, right? Because you're going to be sucking it towards you.
Is that necessary?
Anyway.
I don't know.
Did
So-
you all see the exciting exoplanet news from like in the last couple of weeks? I think it was this month.
No.
Which was
Maybe.
they reckon they've spotted the first exoplanet again through like ooh, there's a slight dimming in this case of X-rays in another galaxy.
Oh, wow.
Stop
Now,
it.
They've got this one sort of data point, as it were, in that they were looking at X-ray binaries specifically, and the X-rays got cut out for a while. So they can't kind of confirm, like some people are like, oh, it could just be a giant gas cloud. But the people are like, no, it's a giant exoplanet.
Let me believe.
But they also can't just keep looking to kind of see it again and get the same data again, because I think the like time that this same transit would happen again would be, I don't know.
I also saw there was another exciting thing
ages.
that was very recent, that was a direct image of a relatively nearby exoplanet.
Oh,
Yes.
But that was because it was like 4,000 Kelvin. It was like a crazy high temperature, so it was also emitting light. And you can see like there's a star, and then there's like a small blurry thing next to it.
That's amazing.
Ideal for colonization. I would have thought.
4,000 Kelvin, nice toasty.
Toasty.
It's one of the things that they're really targeting the new James Webb Telescope for as well. I think is like actually trying to get like actual pictures of exoplanets. Like, and there'll be a dot, but there'll be like a picture. Look, we did it.
It's going to be such a monumental upgrade on Hubble, considering the
I
Hubble
can't
hardware
wait.
is 30 years old now.
If not older, right?
Well, I want to say it was like 92 or 93 or something that it was launched.
Maybe. How old is Hubble? Googling. Carry on.
While you're looking at that, right? Let me just paint a picture for you, right? We're humanity. We're
With
looking for a place to go. And so we're thinking about launching our ships towards a nearby star to get onto a different planet and start again, or do whatever we have to do. The closest star that you can get to is
It's the sun, actually.
Oh,
Hey, that's the knobhead answer. Is that what that is, Simon?
is Proxima Centauri. And Proxima Centauri has a planet that revolves around it called Proxima Centauri B.
Yeah, I made a film about it once.
Which is about 20 degrees cooler than Earth on average.
Bullshit, I'm not going. I want to go on holiday. I want to be on a beach. Sod it. I'm not going. Can't make me.
And actually, the star itself.
That will also be, just on a slightly nerdy point, its radiative temperature. So that would be distinct from the temperature at its surface if it has an atmosphere.
Oh.
What is the difference?
So basically, the Earth has a radiative temperature of, let's get this wrong, it's about 15 Kelvin lower than the average surface temperature. And that's because the level of the atmosphere that is effectively seen by an external observer is the level in the atmosphere at which light, sort of statistically speaking, on average, escapes to space. So it's not just like absorbed and re-emitted by a higher level in the atmosphere. And because the atmosphere for the first couple of kilometers gets colder as you get higher up, that is colder than than at the surface. So it's basically the difference between those two is the greenhouse effect that your atmosphere confers to your planet.
Nice.
I know how old Hubble is.
It's the same age as me.
Yes, it was launched in 1990, and I've checked the dates, Simon, and it is older than me and you, but younger than Sharmony and Ali.
Hey!
Wow.
So it's
But also good, I guess.
So it needs an upgrade. Bless it. Take it off the job. I'm knackered.
Anyway, right, so you've got Proxima Centauri, which has Proxima Centauri B, which is this cool
it's
world. And
Okay.
the sun itself, Proxima Centauri, is dimmer than our sun. Although I don't know whether Proxima Centauri B is close enough to make that less dim, as in to make it brighter. But it could basically be a sort of cool twilight version of our world. If you got there, that would be what you'd see. And if you keep going out, right, so that's the closest one, but it's not actually the most sort of habitable. That one is, I think it's, the one people talk about is, maybe it's Ross 128. I can't believe I've forgotten this now, but
This is that's an interesting point, though, is that how do you actually classify all these planets? Because there are different naming conventions that are used sporadically.
yeah, I was like wandering through this list of stars with millions of different names, and like Ross 128. Where's Ross 127? They're fucking here. Now I've met one just called Tiergarten, and I'm like, that's just a Dutch man's name. Like, why
I prefer planets and moons and things with like in our solar system having like names of Greek gods and things. Like I love that. I hate it when you get out and it's just like, oh, just give him a number.
But at the same time, I think we say that because we grew up with it as a consistent cultural reference. But it is a very Eurocentric way of naming shit in the universe.
That's true. That's very true.
Science.
But we could do better than that, right?
we could bring in some other cultures' names.
Oh.
But then, do we say, right, Alpha Quadrant, you are going to be named after shit from Asia. Like, Beta Quadrant, you're going to be
Asia
Africa.
has, like, all of the best religions. Like, how...
Controversial statement there.
All of them.
Like, you can't give all of Asia's religions to Alpha Quadrant. Like, you think
Otherwise,
of the
Alpha
amount of,
Quadrant would have... yeah, it would be cool. They're all cool. Greek mythology's cool.
It
Yes,
is.
religion.
Yeah. And
But
obviously Roman as well.
It's certainly more romantic than Glee's 581c and
Yeah,
stuff like that.
I understand why scientists need the numbers and the things. It probably helps them a lot, but I don't need them in my day-to-day, and so I would much rather they were like, why isn't there like a Hades and Persephone? I know we've got Pluto, but
Well, a lot of those names are claimed by the International Astronomical Union by like names of moons. We
really?
blew our load really early.
Yes.
In terms of like naming all of the planets, so the moons of places like Saturn and Uranus after.
yeah, but there isn't
Europa.
Persephone basically.
Yeah.
Okay, why isn't there a Persephone
I
moon?
think there might be, you know.
I don't think there is.
He's in Firefly, if that helps.
But like, can you imagine in the
Anyway.
future saying like, "Where's your home planet?" Oh yeah, it's
Let me just chuck some more stuff at you, right? So Ross 128 has Ross 128b, which is brighter than Earth and bigger, so like a bright, roomy world. And as you go further out, you get to Gliese 832c, which is 16 light years away, and that's like 5 times more massive than Earth. So it would have a gravity of like around 1.5 times as much, I think, because of the radius obviously takes you further away from the center of mass, even though the mass is much greater. So that would be a heavy world, and apparently would have a lot of thick atmosphere because it's got more gravity. So imagine a sort of humid, heavy world. And it sort of goes out, there's a triple star system in there, and there's a very weak star as you go further out. And then, you know, after like 40 light years away, you're hitting the TRAPPIST system. And I had a thought about this whole thing, but I feel like you guys have been looking stuff up and you want to share, and I'm ready for that.
I just found that there's a well, I couldn't even look where it is, but there is something called Kore or Kore, I'm not sure how you say it, which is another name for the Greek goddess of Persephone. But I haven't checked where it is.
there is a main belt asteroid called Persephone.
Oh no, Kore is a natural satellite of Jupiter, and that is another name for Persephone. So there's also something, but a satellite. They're calling it a satellite.
Well, it's also an
Not
asteroid.
even good enough to be a moon.
It even has a 3-dimensional
No.
model.
Is it called Persephone?
Its official designation is its minor planet designation is 399 Persephone.
I'm sorry.
Minor planet.
It gets to be a minor planet, and Pluto's just sat there.
It's
This is a dwarf
49
planet.
kilometers
No, but it's
across,
sad.
plus or minus 4 kilometers. So
And it's in the asteroid belt.
yeah.
That is a big asteroid.
Yeah.
It's pretty
Let's
cool.
hope that doesn't
Very
start like before.
Ali, tell us your thing. You were going to tell us.
Yeah, say your thing.
Right. So when I was looking at a map, which is incredibly hard to read, right, of all of these stars around Earth, and I was looking at all the planets which are the most sort of look like they could be the best for habitation. What is quite striking is that they're all in one direction, right? Like imagine that. So if the Milky Way is a wheel, right? You go one way around the wheel, you go other way around the wheel. If you go one way round, you hit all of these stars with all these exoplanets that are a bit like Earth. If you go the other way, there's nothing for the first like 15 light years. There's just zip.
Like,
Is that
actually,
just
we
because
have
is that
looked
observational bias? Is that
was
the
gonna
direction
say-
that we pointed a telescope in?
Yeah.
Or
Is that
Kepler.
the way Hubble was looking?
Probably Kepler, surely, if it was exoplanet.
Or
I mean,
Kepler,
does it always look the same way?
Well, I think
I mean,
it's
we know there
probably
are
like a
stars.
slow sweep. I don't actually know.
I don't know, but
I feel like it could have. It's not just stuck on like.
I don't
right,
know
you
though, because if at
Depends on
some
the
point
orientation of the solar system compared to the orientation of the Milky Way.
and the orientation of Earth.
But also think about it. If you're doing stuff like the transit method or Doppler shifting, you need a long time series to pick up enough data. So it may be that it's in one configuration for a couple of years and then they move it. I'm not actually sure.
it's not like they don't know that there are stars out there. And it's not like that they... well, I should know. What I don't know is whether they've seen planets, but not seen any, like, exoplanets that are like Earth. I don't know that. That would...
Anyway,
what I do know is...
there are a lot of cool... So one direction. That's the direction we're going. Right?
Yeah, I mean, like, obviously, it's sort of one direction around. Like, it's all up and down, and they're all in different distances, but they're all in just sort of right, if you look at a map, right? So what I was thinking is, like, essentially, as people are like, right, we got to get off this shit, and we got to go somewhere else, what's the calculation that you're making? Because you've got to be thinking, right, I'm about to get on a ship and try and get to a planet, hopefully before anyone else gets there, and then set up my civilization, and then hopefully jump to some other planets, right? That's the plan. So do I aim for the one which is closest and race everyone else who thinks they can get there first to get to this planet and colonize it, right? Or do I go one in the same direction with more planets that could be colonized and just sort of sit for longer on the ship? But what if, the longer I'm in space, the more likely something is to go terribly wrong. Like, the risk is rising. But then someone must be thinking, right, we are a tiny little group of people who have no resources, nothing, but we can muster a ship. We cannot compete with any of these people. Let's go the other way. Let's go out to the place where there aren't any planets, right? And see if we can find somewhere out there where no one's going to fuck with us. And then you have and then you'd be like, right, well, once you're there, if you're over 20 light years away from anyone, that's assuming you're traveling a fifth light speed, that's more than a human lifetime as it stands. No one's going to come for you. So it's instant. The moment you leave Earth, you've split humanity into different...
Yeah.
I was just looking up the Kepler mission. It is a fixed field of view.
Is it?
So it's like a little flashlight or a torch.
That's more interesting. That's even more interesting because that says, right, the planets we know about, we've seen, we definitely know there are some out there, but we never actually looked the other way. So there might be some. We just have no idea.
But also,
That's quite cool.
I mean, I would imagine that by the end of this century, if we're still funding these kind of missions because the planet hasn't dissolved into a hellscape, that, you will have done multiple missions at fixed points in the sky, right? Like, this is like the first transatlantic crossing by Europeans. And, that there is shit in this particular direction and for, like, a couple of miles. And, like, we're at that such early point in exploration.
But you thought, didn't you? You're like, yeah, there's India, and it's there, and it's close, right? And then look where that got us. So...
then we ended up with cheese in a can. We can't afford that again.
I did an excellent film recently about how the Vikings were probably the first people to cross the Atlantic.
Yeah,
yes, great. Vikings.
Love the Vikings.
What film was it?
Norse. It's called When Vikings Lived in America, maybe.
Is it Leif Erikson?
You just made up a name for it.
Erikson. No, that was like the first name I made up for it. That did end up being the final name for the film. So yeah, practically.
Amazing.
But it was all cute little animated Vikings, and I drew little Vikings and a little Viking ship. And it's super cute. So
That's
check
so
it out.
cute.
That's
It's
awesome.
on my Twitter. I'll retweet it.
Do it.
There are bonkers theories that, like, ancient Egyptians were the first people to reach North America. Like, and there are, like, these drawings that people provide with, like, these theories, and it's like the raft that you would use to cross from one side of the Nile to the other. And they're like, yeah, they went across the Atlantic in this. Like, no problem.
There are certainly some places where the colonization of, like, islands by humans was quite possibly before they could design boats, and they may have, along with other bigger animals, just been on rafts of vegetation.
The Polynesian islands, like, there's apparently the Polynesians were just epic sailors, and they passed down all their kind of sailing knowledge through just sort of word of mouth, right? That's their culture, and they just learned how to be these just awesome sailors, and then they would just follow the winds round, and then they colonized basically half the Pacific.
But that does bring up the interesting point, and Cass is actually saying this in chat at the moment, that you could very much argue, why did people from China and East Russia not go to America before Europeans did? Like, because, China had a colossally advanced naval architecture by the 15th century, for example. Like, and I think it is actually a fundamental thing to do with the atmosphere of, the trade winds are blowing in the wrong direction. Like they are taking you from the east to the west, not the other way around.
I read a very large and incredibly boring book. I got halfway through it about this, and it was all about trade. And basically, the dude just spent the entire book talking about beads. He was like,
"It's not a nice way to talk about the chapter of Simon's book that you got to read."
Yeah, it's called Firmament. It's coming out next year.
It's about like
somewhat about beads.
The cultural evolution of beads or the trade of beads that show you who.
Well, he was saying that you could track things by the trade of beads, but he was saying
stop saying the word beads.
Beads.
Just coming up to a newly discovered line. Hello, do you like beads?
Beads?
Yeah, who doesn't like beads? Everyone likes beads.
That's a good point. Who doesn't like a bead?
Exactly.
One indigenous person says to the other, I do in fact like beads.
I'm rather a fan of beads.
I do, yeah, I will. I think I will, actually. Yeah, but the Chinese had this massive navy, but they were just interested in their sort of the South China Sea and sort of down through Vietnam and Indonesia, and towards India. That's where they kind of all went, and they were basically making it part of their kind of the broader Chinese empire, insofar as that was a thing. And they're like, we're not interested in going that way. We're just Chinese empire. That's where we're about. I feel like I may have simplified and got a lot of that wrong. So
the history of an entire continent over 1,000 years. No, I'm pretty sure that was about right.
Everyone, we don't do like in-depth research for some of the weird topics we come on tangents on here, so don't come for us.
All I was saying was the winds are blowing the wrong direction.
I read a bloody book.
You read half a book.
Good, half a book, yeah. Ali read half a book, okay, everyone, so he knows what he's talking about.
It wasn't like the history of the world in 12 maps, was it? Because I remember that it's talked about in that book, but I don't think it's about
One
beads.
page, yeah.
No, it's called like beads, and that's it.
It wasn't called Beads. We need to write a book called Beads? ? Like,
and it's like the size of Sapiens.
yeah.
And instead of a thumbprint on the front, it's just a bead.
The RPGeeks present
Beads? And I want, whenever they announce it on Radio 4, that's how you have to intone it as a question.
Yeah. It's like the Cards Against Humanity card. Beads?
Exactly, but it's beads.
Put a D on the end, we've done it.
I think it's an interesting insight into how both Ali's mind and Ali's universe works, that when talking about like the colonization of other planets and humans spreading out into the galaxy, the assumption is that we will definitely be at each other's throats. If someone's already landed somewhere, F you, like, we're gonna kill each other.
Yeah.
Like I feel like there was some maybe capitalist overtones to that, like imperialist, we have staked our claims on this planet.
I find that the immediate like development, well, not the immediate, but like give it a couple of hundred years after that happens, like what role do the people who made that decision to strike out in a particular direction and you find a planet and you're like the founders, like I feel like a culture could interpret that in so many different directions. Like it could become like a religious figure, or it could be like lost to time and you don't know why you're on this planet. Like that is a fascinating part of like kind of early to mid development of a galactic empire.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, there's so much. The other thing I was thinking is like, just as part of it, right? Like you've got to assume that if we're doing this in 100 years or something, we'll have some fairly sophisticated research-based artificial intelligence, which is going to help us out doing stuff, right? And essentially, your whole colonization strategy is limited by the amount of information that you have about where you can go and what you can hope to achieve when you get there, right? So a really unacknowledged sort of resource is computation time and energy. And like essentially, can you maximize how much computation can you do before you commit to one place? And is it actually better to build a huge floating computer and get power from somewhere which can then, as you get closer, can integrate information and say yes or no depending on where you want to end up? Like, and if you do that, then what does that mean you can't do? Like, I mean, if all your resources are going towards building a big floating computer, like, it's just another kind of facet of it, really.
And also then you're talking about building a ship that will survive and can change and adapt for, hundreds of years, we're assuming? Rather than, quick, I'm gonna take a gamble and fire off one ship that has one job, which is to get to that point. And
only a matter of time until it three laws itself and it's like these planets are better off if the humans don't wake up.
Oh!
And there's just a drifting
the fourth
hulk
law,
of...
thou shalt
Oh my god, that's
planets
amazing! That's
at all
amazing!
costs.
I mean, it's basically
Well, because it's waking up and being like, okay, so there's this many resources on this planet. If they get this, I'm going to run a projection. In 100 years, they've all killed each other in a war. Right, okay, next planet. And it just keeps doing that over and over and over again.
I love
That's
it.
what Infinity did before she's going to kill you all.
Infinity is going to realise that the best thing for the maximum amount of life on Praxigantu is if we did not.
But also
Everyone
that's-
to Nebris die.
That's
It's you
assuming
two.
that you can build an AI which escapes the bias built into it by its creators.
Ooh.
So that's a whole nother topic there.
Yeah.
That's
I think we
nice.
should leave that one for another day.
Well, I think we are running a little low on time just in general
Yeah.
because it is nearly 10 o'clock.
I think we should wrap up our DnDebrief there, unless there's anything else people want to leap into onto the topics of today.
I have other jumping off points, but they're whole topics.
We've
so-
had enough
Oh,
jumping
yeah,
off points
so
much.
in the adventure today.
That was not a jumping off point. That was you turned it into a falling off point. That was a standing on stuff point.
What were our options? I'm sorry.
Like roll anything above like I don't know. It doesn't matter. It happened.
I fell, okay? Tenebris fell, I jumped. I tried to not let Uriel fall.
Knew
I
you
tried
were
very
gonna jump.
hard.
The only one who was good
Minute.
at rolling was the one who was like, I'm going to make the decision out of my hands.
I'll just hold on to this panther. Excuse me.
Right, I'm gonna wrap this up. I'm gonna tell you all where you can find us because you should all be following us in other places because
Please.
other places, mainly social media, are invaluable ways to find out what we're doing when new episodes are up, what the topics are, like what's
When we
happening.
make memes.
Memes, clips. We need more memes. We should get some more memes.
I mean, we don't make the memes. Other people make the
don't
memes
make
for
the
us,
meme in
and then
our
we
lives.
share the memes. But we will share the memes.
Make memes for us. We'll share them.
Yeah.
So, in case you've forgotten by now, we are the RPGeeks.
Yeah.
This is our weekly live show streamed on Twitch at 7 p.m. UK time every Wednesday. This also becomes a video on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/RPGeeksDND. We're also on various podcast hosting platforms. And the best place to find all of those links is, I would say, our website, rpgeeks.co.uk. It sort of reaches out to everywhere, including our Twitter and our TikTok and our Instagram, which is also at RPGeeksDND. And yeah, do give us a follow, and you can find also links to each of our 4 individual social media channels from there. Mainly Twitter, I think, is the one that we're we've all got
TikTok.
The
accounts
TikTok
on.
is the big boy.
No, I mean for the
TikTok
personal,
account.
for our personal accounts.
Yeah.
We are all actually on Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter.
Also follow our TikTok. Our TikTok is great. Oh my
Hey,
God.
follow our Instagrams and our TikToks if you can find them.
It's great. So yeah, we will be back next week, picking up from where we left off in the adventure, followed by yet more science. Thank you all so much for watching, listening, and we'll see you again soon.
And thank you, Sharmini.
Thanks,
being
Sharmini.
Yay, Sharmini.
Ali, you
Yeah,
also did some
yes.
stuff today. Well done, you
love
too,
it.
I
I was
guess. Well done,
so-
Ali.